Hi, welcome to another episode of I Mustache You Something. I've got the
One
famous,
and only.
infamous, the what?
One and only, I think, is the way. I usually prefer that title. I identify by those pronouns, one and only,
What, like,
like he, she, them. I'm
yeah. Oh, you want
pronouns of choice. Yeah, my
the
pronoun of choice.
unique.
One and only. Yes.
Very good. The one and only Ralph. Is it toss or toast or
Toss, like toss the ball.
toss? But
Yeah, that's
isn't
how.
it dos like much dos?
No, it's not DOS. DOS is sort of an abbreviation of tawadros in Arabic or
Uh,
Coptic or something. And toss is an actual Coptic word that, and we say it during the liturgy. It means bow. It's a Coptic word that means bow. I have no
how
idea.
appropriate.
Yeah, but it's all right. So I'm a very humble guy.
Bow to
So
the one and only.
yes.
It's very appropriate.
All right, so it's toss, just regular toss. That's all.
And does Ralph translate to center of the universe?
Slightly off center. Slightly off center.
Because center would be heretical, right?
Yes, I would never do that. You
But
know me.
like, I don't want to be Lucifer. I just want to be Archangel Michael. Like, what's the big deal?
Yeah, there's no big deal.
I
You
think that's fair.
you are Archangel Michael to me. I'll tell you that much.
Habibi, yeah, Habibi. Yeah, I mean, like, here's God's throne, right? You don't want your throne above. You just want just below.
It just like a step or two below. That's all
Just
it is.
just below. Like, what's wrong with that? Okay.
I don't see anything.
So we're uh doing a Jesse Newman style of no prep. Like we just started recording, and
Because we were
you're
funny.
interrupting me.
We were funny. So like, why not try to get attempted humor on?
Right, right. Like why waste the footage?
You shouldn't.
So you're like the Egyptian version of the Jesse Newman, who actually has been a great hit. Like I don't know if you got a chance to watch it, but he's my friend from like middle school and high school.
He was
Uh,
very funny at the very beginning. This is the guy you met in the seventh grade or something at
yeah,
the bus stop.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. See, look at this.
yeah,
I do my research. I do
yeah,
my research. I'm not coming in. You think maybe you're unprepared. I'm not coming in unprepared. I know exactly what I'm talking about.
yeah. So I don't know if you know this, Ralph, but
I do.
you
I do. Never preface a question to me that way. Never ask me. I don't know if you know this. Now, Ralph, I believe you know this but I want to talk is what you should say to me.
okay.
All question.
So you certainly know this already because you're omniscient.
Exactly. Thank you very
Um,
much. Good. I'm
but
used to that kind of deference.
you actually had a huge effect on me because I
We
heard a
just met.
talk that you gave.
We just met.
What's that?
We just met.
Yeah, I
You
don't.
just texted me, say, hey, can you do this? I know who you are.
So in can you tell the nice people we're not strangers? Tell the nice people we're not strangers.
Laura?
Don't make me have you tell
Samantha?
them
Samantha? Do you ever
the
watch, do your kids force you to watch Frozen 2?
I loved Frozen
Yeah,
2.
it's a great movie. And then there's that little who's that little elf little guy, little snowman guy?
Snowman guy, yeah.
Olaf, right.
Yeah,
He, he's singing a song and all of a sudden he goes, Samantha? I don't even know Samantha.
Did you pick up on the Christology in that movie?
Dude, did I? I mean, come on, the death, the whole resurrection thing. Are you kidding me? It
Amazing.
was so clear. It
It's amazing.
was so clear. So
Um,
clear.
so when I was in college, I heard you give a talk about how uh, guilt is not from God, and I was like, "What?" Like, I thought that was the whole point.
But
I
that's
was
why
like,
he's in the God business.
"Yeah." I was like, what else is there? I thought there was guilt and like molocheia, and like that's it. That's Coptic Orthodox molocheia, guilt, and we're done. So you got me thinking, and like I wrestled with it for years. I'm like, no, but Ralph said, like,
Ralph
yeah,
said,
Ralph said, but what if Ralph is wrong? I'm like, Ralph is never wrong. Okay,
thank you. Rule number two.
rule number
Rule
two,
number two.
more rules. Have you ever seen that Adam Sandler bit with the Hot water burn baby. Oh, you gotta Google. Oh, you would love this.
Really?
It's basically Adam Sandler playing like a little kid, and like his parents are prepping him for like uh, a sibling coming to the house because his mom is about to have another
Okay.
baby,
All right.
and they were trying
You
to
will
tell
know.
him like how to be safe around the baby. So one of the things was hot water burn baby. He goes, hot water burn baby, and they're like, so what if the baby wanted some tea? Would you bring the baby tea? Yeah, baby like tea. Like, what? But what do you make tea with? Oh, hot water. And hot water burn baby. Anyway, so what are we talking about today?
I don't know. You tell me. You're the leader.
I'm not
You,
the leader.
you
I'm
got
here to listen to you.
you got the mustache. You got
You're
the
with
bow tie. Mustache, bow tie. You're sitting in front of a beautiful credenza or whatever that is, with pictures of children, the Virgin Mary. I think there's a globe over there. Got the bow tie, the leather seat. You are the leader here. I feel like I'm getting interviewed.
Yeah, but you may be in an even nicer room. We just can't see it because it's dark.
It's
Like that could be like a Da Vinci sitting behind you, and we wouldn't know it.
I'm sitting on. I'm so insanely filthy rich. I'm sitting on an actual Michelangelo, and I don't want you to see it because of privacy concerns.
Right.
No, I just
And
keep it
because you
dark.
stole
Huh?
and because you stole it from the
And
London
because yeah,
Museum.
no. Yeah, I just like to keep it dark. So all right. So I don't know. We can. There's so much. Actually, there's nothing going on this year. It was a really boring
Yeah,
year.
yeah, really boring
And
year,
I don't
just
know.
vanilla,
I don't
you
know. It's
know.
a normal year. It's like every other year. Like what everything's just absolutely normal.
So take your pick. I think there's literally anything, and there's a lot of people that I'm talking to that have like dotted lines around the conversation. Where it's like, okay, we can't get into this and we can't get into that, and some of them I'm talking to them about. Okay, why are there dotted lines around what we talk about, right? Like, what are we afraid of?
So
Right?
what are they afraid of?
So you tell me, what do you think we're afraid of? Why do we put dotted lines around what we're allowed to talk about?
I can't even get. I am so anti censorship, even anti self censorship, as you probably figured out, that I'm just not. I can't even put myself into the shoes of someone who I can understand there being, maybe some. Oh, I was 3 years old and I don't know, someone did something horribly to me,
Yeah,
and
for
maybe
sure.
that sort of brings tidal waves of tears.
Sure, sure.
And so I can say, all right, that's limited because I don't want it to affect this conversation. Otherwise, I'd break down and cry.
Yes.
But other than that, I don't. I mean, if you ask me for my passcode to my Chase bank account, I'd probably say that's off limits now. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna
That's for
tell you.
practical reasons.
Yeah, for practical reasons. But other than that, I don't see why. I mean, I would not like to talk about sports because I'm absolutely ignorant of sports. I don't know anything about it. So you can talk to me, but I'm just going to listen to a lot of what you have to say and take your word for it. But other than ignorance or devastation, I can't see a reason why something is off limits.
So I was talking to Anthony Zaki last night, and I don't know what order these are going to be posted in, but I suppose I can post his before I post yours, so that whoever
I
wants.
should go last. This should be the
Oh, you
last.
want the finale?
This should be this. This is the finale, not just should be. Like this is the not only the season ender, this is the series ender. This is the one everyone's waiting for. I will not be put into the middle. And if I'm put into the middle, keep this part that says I should not be put into the middle. And if you're watching this in the middle because Mina didn't listen, then pause and watch it on November 30th. That's the plan.
So, assuming that I follow the directive of Mr. Toast,
It's a no-brainer.
um, you would hopefully have listened to Anthony Zaki. And with Anthony, I really challenged him and I really pushed him on this point because he's very thoughtful. He has great ideas. I love how he conceptualizes things, questions things. Like he's really got a good head on his shoulders, and he literally didn't want to talk about anything. I'm like, you want to talk about this? No. You want to talk about that? No. why? Well, and finally I was I stopped like trying to figure out what we're talking about, and I just hit record, and I was like, okay, Anthony doesn't want to talk about anything because Anthony's afraid of getting in trouble or saying something stupid. And what it boiled down to was, if he says something that's correct, he's afraid of being perceived as a know-it-all. And he says something incorrect, he's afraid of being perceived as ignorant. And I was like, okay, but what's wrong with people valuing what you say or correcting you if you were wrong? Like, I'm not saying you're right or wrong, but either way, say what you got to say. But it doesn't seem like people get over that hump of wanting to expose themselves to criticism.
Well, I don't know Anthony, and this isn't a criticism of Anthony.
No,
But
feel free to criticize Anthony. I did it the whole 40 minutes.
but I mean, it's a sign of sure hubris to think that anyone, A, would think that someone else knows everything, or B, to think that I would be surprised that I don't know something. Like, you can ask me a question, and why is my ignorance a fault? I mean, you talk about religiously, Jesus, St. Cyril said, took on our ignorance so that he can give us his knowledge, And I mean, and then Augustine said, there's the things that we know, the things that we don't know, and the things that we don't know, we don't know. It's that last part. The darkness is in that last part, this sort of infinite things that we don't even know we don't know, right? Like, I know things, and there are things I know I don't know, like I don't know sports. And then there are things that I don't even know I don't know. And that takes on a level of just absurdity that for me to even feel afraid to come across like I don't know something is, I think, the height of hubris. And I don't know Anthony. He's probably a really nice non-hubris guy.
No,
but
yeah.
but
And
for
he
me,
would take that very well, actually. Like, he would be like, I didn't realize that it was a sign of pride to be afraid to say something because it could be wrong, right? And that, I think, like, he would take, I mean, he's a very humble guy, and he would actually take that very well.
Good.
And I think the point is well taken. So,
and for the thousands of you who are watching right now, I would take it to heart as well.
So now that we've established that you and I, feel comfortable, A, being wrong, B, being corrected, and like, hey, like, if we got something wrong, like, by all means.
And C, being intimate, in the right sort of way, because I mean, there's, if I, if I build that sort of moat around where people can go, then I'm keeping people out from that certain thing. So it's, when you allow a conversation to go anywhere, then you are increasing the level of intimacy, and you're tearing down walls, and you're sort of really getting to know each other. I think most of the time we spend talking to each other is we're talking past each other. We're just probably, either mouthing off, these preconceived lines that we've said every single day and, repeated without any type of feeling, without any type of, emotion or thought. And then, or there's the sound bites that we've heard or read, or little things that we think we know. But there's no real intimacy. Like, we don't have intimacy anymore. And I think it's because we have these sort of, like, cordoned off little places where we won't let people go into our lives, which is, again, I mean, life is about living. It's not about, being sheltered.
And you asked me, like, why am I doing this? What's the point?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's why. I value every single person that I'm having a conversation with this month, where if the only thing that happens is you and I talk, and, like, me and the other people talk, great. Like, I think
expect more with me, though. Expect more with me. Expect more with this. Me doing this is groundbreaking, earth-shattering, just, walls shaking. Jericho. You remember those? Remember 7 Days Jericho? This is the 21st century Jericho. Just remember that.
I mean,
Jot that down.
The bus stop that I met Jesse Newman on was in Jericho, New York. You realize this?
That's why you start and end with this episode. You end with this episode. It comes full circle.
This is nothing short of prophecy. Like I start with Jesse and I end with Ralph, and it's the fulfillment of Jericho.
So shall it be.
I mean, I can't wait to publish this sooner than the last episode and have you just go irate.
Verily, 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 I say unto you. I know just enough to make me absolutely heretical.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So, okay, so you and all these other people that I'm talking to, all I'm doing is what I normally do with you guys, which is just talk. Like, what do you think? Like, we don't necessarily need to agree. We just need to understand each other. And we go, oh, yeah, okay, I see your point. I don't agree, but I see your point. And
the questions, the answers are irrelevant. If we're asking the same questions, then we're already connected in a way that people can't even understand.
Bezupt. So
but that's what people don't get.
So my guess is whatever topic you pick, odds are you and I will have thought about it similarly, and for the most part agree. I'm hoping to be surprised. So maybe you can pick the topic for this year, like something controversial that you think you and I might disagree.
On this for just you and me now?
Yeah. Like, what do you think we may disagree about that might be spicy? Or agree. I mean, we probably agree. Like, it's hard. It's a difficult question. I know.
It is. I'm not usually asked questions that are difficult. This is like a good interview question, like when you're getting a job. If they throw you this question, like, I didn't think of that one. Listen, there's so.
The show is called I Mustache You Something.
Did you come up with that on your own?
I did.
I like it. I like it a lot. Look, everything today is polarized and controversial, and I think you can pick any topic from religion to politics to sex to drugs to anything, and there's going to be people perceive that the other person who disagrees with them is evil or a fascist or a sinner or a horrible human just because they might have different answers than we do. So I mean, you flip a coin. I mean, geez, flip a coin, and we'll talk about whatever it is. We flip a coin. You could do we can get online and do like a random word thing and put in like 6 or 7 different words. Boom, and the word that pops up here.
Do a random word generator.
I'm going to do a random word generator right now. And watch, it's going to come up with something like random word.
And that's why I'm hoping you and I disagree, so that we can go back and forth and like have a spirited debate about this thing that we happen to disagree about, and at the end go, okay, I still really respect you, Ralph. Like, you're a great guy. Like, we agree on most things, but man, this one thing really didn't work out.
The word that came up is bedroom. That's the word that came up. Let's
do another one.
The next word is abnormal, which is, I don't know. What website is this, by the way? Oops, wrong website. Oh, my Lord. Wow. Who hacked into my computer? Here's one, salvation. That's the word that came up, salvation. You want to talk about salvation? You want to talk about borders? You want to talk about breasts? That came up too. This is a real Google random word generator, guys. This is not just and then the other word, I'm not going to say the word that just came up right now. It's a horrible word. It's not a horrible word. I mean, it's just a real word that means something, but it also means something in, provocative, Can't even believe it. I can't believe that word came up.
Okay, go ahead. What is it?
It's snatch. I don't even know what that means, but I know it means something.
Of course, me neither.
It means something.
Me neither. It's the movie. It's the movie where they go steal the stuff.
That's what it was. It's the movie stuff.
The movie.
What haven't you talked about?
Actually, everybody's been like, even people that I thought like would be a little bit edgy were like super careful because they know this is being recorded and they know anybody can watch it. I think controversial things that people have avoided have been the communion spoon issue, the leadership response to the sex abuse crisis, which is ongoing.
We can talk about that. We can talk about the spoon. We can talk about whatever you want. But you pulled the trigger, bro. I'll talk
The
honestly
role
about
of
what I feel.
women,
Huh?
the role of women in the church,
That's a good one too.
and rules like the 40 days, 80 days, the when they take communion.
Those are all amazing rules.
The 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 tendency to judge and marginalize rather than love people, where by setting rules and saying this is what we expect of you as a congregant, people that don't meet those criteria kind of go, okay, well, but to really get into some of the specific issues and the specific demographics of people that feel excluded because they don't feel like they're accepted.
And that's a problem.
So yeah, so you pick one of those.
No, I'm not picking. You pick. Because if I pick, you know what it sounds like? If I pick, it sounds like I have an agenda. I don't have an agenda.
Oh, I see. Okay. So here, I'm going to write A, B, C, and D. I'm going to write randomly. I'm not telling you which one's A, B, C, or D. Women.
Ooh, rainbow. My daughter made this. Anyone win Georgia yet?
Yeah, Georgia looks like a done deal. It's going to come down to Nevada and maybe Pennsylvania. So this is being recorded on Thursday, November 5. So we don't know who's going to be the next president yet.
Oh, that's right. By the time this airs on November 30th, we will have already determined who it is.
Or it will still be in litigation.
Oh my God, it might be.
Very well might be.
I mean,
Right,
Gore,
so
Gore Bush ended on December 16th. So
A, B, C, or D?
D. I can't read it.
So D says the marginalization of vulnerable by setting black and white rules for people to follow.
Okay.
So what does that mean to you? How do you interpret this topic?
I interpret this topic that there are people who feel that that the church doesn't cater to them or have an understanding from either experience or what they've read that they're not welcome within the Orthodox community, and those people will feel will stop going to church.
Okay, and there was a word there. I'm sorry, it's late. It's been a long day for me. There's a word there.
I just woke up, so I'm fine.
There's a word there that I wanted you to clarify. Sorry, say the first part of what you said again.
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. Tell me more. Keep going, because it's going to jog my memory.
That there are groups of people who feel that because of either something they've read by someone in a religious community or or things that they've experienced, that they're not wanted as part of the Orthodox community. And therefore,
that's what it was. So the first time you said it, you didn't say Orthodox community, you said church, right? And I wanted you to clarify, like, what do you mean by church? And
I don't think I did, but we'll go to the videotape and we'll see it. But what I meant by church is I meant community is what I meant, because the body of Christ, I think unless there's heresy or some kind of canonical life of leaving God, I don't think that they're excluded from the church. They might be excluded from, so let's say the old story of the young girl who gets pregnant out of wedlock, She's, she might feel that she's, not welcome in the church, either because she's read that premarital sex is wrong, or her parents are very ashamed, or people in the church might say, hey, we don't want you coming to church anymore. So let's take that. That is a very vulnerable situation if she's 16, or maybe she's 27. But if she's 16 and she's young and she's not been, she's not, what's the phrase, kept herself until marriage, then then she feels certain ways.
And I think this can embody lots of other people that struggle with sexual identity, that struggle with gender identity, that struggle with a different set of norms that exist in their sort of social community, like with their school and their friends and elsewhere, versus the Coptic community and like the people at church. And some of them live double lives where I'm going to behave this way with this group and this way with that group, and there's a tension there. And I think your example is a really good one, because number one, it's not like he said, she said, like, oh, I heard that she was at a misharif did misharif mean, like there's no ambiguity here.
As fully expected, the example I would bring would be the perfect example for the
perfect. It's perfect. It's. I mean, God would have brought up like a slightly better example, but yours is very nearly perfect.
Right there. It's right there.
It's very, very good.
Right.
So again, like, I think we need to get it out of the way, just so nobody says, "Oh, you weren't clear and you made it seem."
Well,
like
first of all, hold on a second. Let me just clarify something. Since you and I assume you still serve in a church somewhere, right? And since I serve in a church somewhere, we are here not as not as representatives of the Coptic Orthodox Church at all. When I'm preaching from the Mumba or doing a Bible study or doing something, I'm speaking for the church. So if someone asks me a question, I will then repeat what the church believes. And 98% of the time that coincides with what I believe. But here today, now, it is my personal opinion, and it do not represent or claim to represent any type of hierarchical, doctrinal, cathethetical understanding of faith, religion, morality, science, politics, or anything else. There you go.
I'm hoping that I either get like someone like really smart to be able to help me with that, or I can figure out how to like actually do all the fine print and like disclaimer, like, we do not wish to be excommunicated. We love our church, we love our community, and we are not trying to cause trouble. So yes, no, but again, I don't think that this is a never event. This happens more frequently than people talk about. And
what, pregnant girls, you mean? Yeah. Or yes. You mean other? Yeah.
Yeah. And even if someone wants to live in some fantasy fairyland where this doesn't happen, this is a subset of a broader group of people that have been told a certain thing outside, have been told a different thing inside. And for those people listening that, potentially are being scandalized now, like, oh, I can't believe they're talking about this. I can't believe they're mentioning this. I can't believe they're normalizing this to make it seem to the youth that this is an okay thing to do. Are we saying that we want to change the rules?
The rules? Listen, the church should never compromise its principles, but the church should never sacrifice people. And write that down. That should be that should be on a bumper sticker somewhere, or on a t-shirt, or that should be somewhere.
Talking, like, if you just like lost like a tiny little bit of perspective on how great you are and just kept talking.
This is amazing. I forgot for a minute how great I was until I just came up with that.
We're gonna get you a red hat.
Yeah. No, these are chip. What was I saying?
I
Yeah,
don't
so
know. You lost your train of thought because you were so enthralled with yourself.
it was beautiful when it came out. I was like, what? Um, the church should never compromise its principles, but it should never sacrifice its people. And sometimes the beautiful thing about Jesus was that he managed to do both, never sacrifice the principles and never compromise the principles and never sacrifice the people. Never. I mean, that story about the woman caught in adultery. The principle's the principle. I mean, he didn't say, "Oh no, you can't do it." He said, "Do it. Pick up. You who don't have a first sin, you don't have a sin, throw it." But he saved her, and I think a lot of times we forget that, and I think God's going to hold us all very accountable for those people, for especially when you think of those, like and I'm picking her because she's the most fragile, and she's also instead of um saying controversial things, but hey, I mean, instead of using the Virgin Mary as an example for an unwed pregnant girl, we then kick her out of the church, and obviously the massive differences between how the Virgin Mary got pregnant and how this little girl got pregnant. But instead of then using the church as a vehicle for salvation, we then shame her into not coming into the church anymore. I mean, reasonable. We don't want other 15-year-old girls getting pregnant. We don't want other people but there needs to be a sane way of saving people's souls and not just trying to save our own skins, our own, dilute. It's like your friend at the very beginning, I don't want to make a mistake. I don't want to speak because I don't want to make a mistake. The church is somehow in that, somehow in that, underneath that same hubris rubric, that says, we can't have, we're a church, we can't have sinners in the church. But I mean, the church is just filled with sinners. So I mean, if you're well, you don't need the church, Jesus said. It's only for the sick people. So we like being not sick. We like saying, well, none of us are sick, None of us smoke, but we all smell like hookah. And none of us drink, but we all smell like vodka. None of us, all of us fast, but we all smell like fried chicken. If you know.
So where does the comfort come in focusing on the rules?
There's easy. Rules are easy. Rules are dead. I don't have to pay attention to a living human being who cries and has emotions and has feelings. I can just point to a rule that says thou shalt not. That's easy. I don't have to think. I don't have to feel. I don't have to do anything. I just have to point. And again, that's the difference between Jesus and us. Is he's not afraid. And he always takes there's someone once said there's the easy way to do things and the right way to do things. And Jesus always took the right way of doing things, not just the easy way to do things. And sometimes, not sometimes, oftentimes, when you look at the lives of the saints, they were brave people. They weren't cowards. They were brave enough to point their fingers at the church or at authority or at, I mean, if you look at the story of Saint Anthony, when I first heard that story as a young kid, I was like, you mean he turned his back right on the community he was living in and said, I'm going to go find God in the desert. And that's what he did. I mean, people could have looked at him and said, what's this crazy guy going to the desert? Wait, there's churches here, there's buildings here, there's communities here. They need you here, 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 here. And he said, I don't think so. So, I mean, I think we need to be braver and we're not. And
So somebody might respond to that and say,
I'm going to get in trouble for this, but that's fine. But
so I'm gonna get in trouble because I literally just had this conversation with someone who I'm not going to mention the name because I respect this person too much and I don't want this to be like, oh, like like a public mishadaf a, but like we were talking about exactly this specific issue, right? And the criticism was being made that we need to take a stronger stance against premarital sex. And the response was, it's clear, like it's clear the church says that we value the sanctity of marriage. We have the four loves, and we want all relationships to be a balance of the four loves. We want eros to be expressed as a creative love in various capacities, but expressed as a sexual love only in marriage. Like, all of the church teachings are crystal clear. The question is, if someone doesn't live up to that standard, and do we need to make it seem like this is a prerequisite for being Christian, or if it's something that is how Christians see relationships being healthy? And the response that I was given was, we do not accept premarital sex. We do not accept sex outside of marriage.
I mean, we obviously don't. So I mean, why is there even a debate about this? We don't accept it. What's that mean? How's that translate? I don't understand what that means. Is there confusion? If you walked up to a 16-year-old who was having sex today and asked them, are they gonna say, oh, I don't, no, the church is okay with that. So I don't understand. The problem isn't in, highlighting the sin. I mean, Jesus, took 2,000 years of God highlighting the sin to the people of Israel to show them that it's not a highlighting of the sin that gets you to stop sinning. It's the relationship that you get with God that gets you to stop sinning. When you fall in love with God, you really don't need anything else. And maybe the people who are propagating these, old ways of doing things, old and useless ways. And the useless phrase doesn't come from me. It comes from St. Paul, who's called all the thou shalt nots useless and affording nothing, coming to nothing. So the idea that hold on, I'm gonna pull up for you since we're talking about it. I think it's here. You're gonna edit this out, right? So I can.
There's no edit.
No, but it's got to be editing because I'm trying to look for something. It's gonna be like a lot of waste of time.
We have a very patient viewership of 2 people.
2 million, you mean? You mean 2 million people? Did I not tell you how everyone's going to just this is going to go all over the world, my friend, all over the world. When the Pope sees this, we're in trouble.
No, but we did the fine print.
We did the fine print. I can't find it. It's in.
What are you looking for?
I'm looking for the verse where St. Paul talks about I'll get it. We'll move on for now.
So like, what's the gist of it?
The gist of it is that emphasizing the rules don't stop the sin. What stops the sin is emphasizing the relationship with God. And if we do, this is the problem. The problem is we have Sunday school teachers, priests, and I will say this, some bishops who are just not theologically inclined. And it's getting better, but there's a far, when I teach Sunday school, or if I go give sermons, or if I talk to servants, a good 80% of them who've been teaching for years, who grew up in the church, don't know anything. So if you don't know anything, you can't impart that knowledge to anyone. And all you then feel comfortable doing is don't dance, don't drink, don't date. The 3 Ds of life. And I've never, and I've been teaching Sunday school since I was 18 years old, and I I must have spoken to thousands of people over the years, literally thousands of people all over the United States at different talks, different things, and have never given a do not drink, do not dance, do not date meeting, because that's not what it's about. And if they want to make the rules tighter, fine, make the rules tighter. That's not going to make anyone better, though. And if you think it's going to make people better, that's sad, because it's not. It's a proven fact that it doesn't change people's relationship. It doesn't change people's behavior. Belief changes people's behavior. Relationship changes people's behavior.
It reminds me of a funny story when I was teaching high school, and we had the servants meeting afterwards in Abuna, in a church that will be unnamed so that we don't scandalize. But the Abuna says, Mina, how was Sunday school? I said, it was good. And he goes, what did you guys talk about today? And he knows that I teach the high school class. I said, we talked about dating. And he goes, really? I'm like, yeah. He goes, that's great. I said, yeah. He goes, so what did you tell them? I said, don't date. He goes, very good. Why did you tell it? Like, how did you sell it? I said, don't date because you're gonna like it. And he goes, what? You said what? So I pull over one of the high school kids. I was like, come here. What did we talk about today? He goes, dating. I go, good. I go, should you do it? He goes, no. I'm like, why? He goes, because I'm gonna like it. I'm like, exactly. Go. And the message was, listen, dating and relationships are great. Like, marriage is great. Sex is great. Why are we changing the message when they've met some external criteria where, like, you're 16 bad, 17 bad, 18 bad, 19 bad, 20 bad, 21 bad, 22 good, very good, very good. And it's like, and like all of a sudden the kid's like 27, he never got the good message. And then they're like, why aren't you married? Married? You told me it's horrible. You told me don't date, don't do this, don't look at the other, don't touch the other, don't, what was I supposed to think other than like everything's horrible, stay away from everything, be afraid, right? So what is the message then? Like, if it's not a list of don'ts, right? And you're saying, okay, Christ was able to split the difference, and Christ was able to,
He didn't split the difference. He maintained without compromise. I mean,
okay, tell me more.
He maintained the integrity of both the law and the woman who was in front of him. And that's where we maintain the integrity of the law and forget the person that's in front of us. And I think that's to our own detriment. And I think that comes from, because I mean, listen, if all Jesus did, if all Jesus did was come down and save me from hell, that's not a message that will, it might resonate with a community that is fearful and scared and living day to day, bread to mouth, that are already living in hell, to tell them that there's something even worse and Jesus came down to save you from that something that's even worse. That might, bring on a bunch of people who will listen and obey and fearfully walk with their God, and they probably have beautiful, more holy relationships than I will ever have. All right, but that's because that's certain people at a certain time. But when you look at what the church fathers wrote and what, why Jesus came down, it wasn't just merely to save us from hell. I mean, Jesus, he came he came that we might have the fullness of life. He said, I've come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. That means life and life and life and life. We don't sell that. We basically say Jesus came down so you don't sin. This is a bunch of rules. Don't do these things. And if you do them, you're going to go to hell. And Jesus came to help you not get to hell, help you not sin. And that's all that it is. But there's so much more than that. I mean, it was Saint Athanasius said it. God became man so that man might become God. I mean, in whatever reality that is, that sentence of it in and of itself is a hot, beautiful. I'm not going to say it. Just this great sentence that just it forces you to dig deeper into what the meaning of that is, of who this God is who wants me to become like him. And I think we to our own detriment, I mean, we don't even talk about the resurrection of the dead. If I went around to a Sunday school class, I usually go around, I ask people, what do you believe about the resurrection of the dead? And easily 9 out of 10 of them don't believe in an actual physical resurrection, that we're going to have, we're just going to be souls, disembodied souls or spirits or angels or whatever crap they think of in their heads, that they don't realize that this body that we have is a very important thing, that God is going to raise up this whole body and give us a whole brand new earth, the Revelation says, and a whole brand new heaven even. So I mean, there's none of the beautiful excitement of the reality of who God is and what he has in store for us is ever sold. All we're told about is don't drink, don't dance, don't date, and we wonder why we're irrelevant to them.
So I think this is the point in our show where I mustache you something.
Oh.
And I don't think that we're going to be able to convince any of the rule box checking people. And I think we accept that.
Yeah, I don't care about them. I care about the pregnant girl.
So how do we create an environment where we're nudging the needle in a direction where she finds a safe space to be loved and to be able to, in her most vulnerable time, not be subjected to yet another humiliation by being rejected by the community that she loves? How do we go in that direction?
Do you think, I mean, the only answer, only answer, I think, comes down to humility. I mean, we need a humbled congregation that sees a sin or pain in the body as pain in and of itself, and we need a humbled priesthood and a humbled hierarchy that also sees, sees this person as a person of a person that needs help, a person that needs comfort, a person that needs counseling, a person that needs attention. I don't think 15-year-old girls who have sex and get pregnant, they're only the identified victim. The problem is much bigger than that. The problem is in this girl's home. The problem is in her church community. The problem is in her friends. The problem is in her priest. The problem, and if the priest doesn't see that as his problem, if all he sees it as musiba, oh, Mary got pregnant, the problem is in her Sunday school teachers. The problem is in me and you. If we haven't, if there's either a disenchanted confused gay kid, or if there's a disenchanted confused pregnant girl, or a disenchanted 45-year-old widower, we're an evil and wicked generation, and I don't think that's something that we can easily overcome without a concerted effort to, I think it's in the book of Amos, if you humble yourself and walk before God, I will heal your land, and we don't have that. We're perfect. I'm perfect. You're perfect. Our churches are perfect. We don't have any gays or pregnant kids or, husbands who beat their wives or alcoholic priests, or we don't have any of those things. We're perfect because we're Coptic, Good luck with that.
And the kid that feels like, okay, because of this.
Now you must ask me something twice.
Oh no! There's lots of questions, but there's one that's like the highlight question.
Oh, okay.
That way we can have like that sort of thing. Right. And so the kid that has been fooled into thinking that we're a community of perfection, that kind of fell for the ruse. And they think, well, I can't go back, right? Because they're perfect and I'm not. What do you say to this kid?
I say, pick up. I mean, what do I say to him? If I talk to him about, the whole it, the whole beauty of the church is that the church is filled with former murderers, adulterers, homosexuals, wife beaters. You're humbled, you're tired, you're hungry masses, yearning to breathe free. The whole church is filled with that, not only with us, but if you look at all the success stories of the church, the people that we call the saints, whether it's Augustine, whether it's Moses the Strong. I mean, give your list of people, whether it's St. Paul, give your list of people who no one is worse than who Saul was before he became St. Paul. No one is worse than Augustine was before he became St. Augustine. No one is worse than Moses the Strong before he became Moses the Strong. We're talking about murderers, adulterers, heathen. This young lad who feels ostracized is only ostracized because he doesn't know that the saints that are hanging on those icons that are looking into the windows from heaven are were exactly where he was, except they were loved, guided, supported, and instead of being berated to death about what not to do, Monica sat there and prayed for her son for all these years. And I think that's the only way that that's the only way we got to St. Augustine. We didn't get to St. Augustine because she kept throwing the 10 Commandments at his face, We got St. Augustine because she got on her knees and she prayed for her son. So, not only would I talk to this little lad, but I would also pray for this lad too. And it might take many, many years, and he might get several women pregnant, like we know St. Augustine did. And then he might become St. Augustine,
Something I learned recently is that the most significant predictor of mental health, being able to express yourself, and this is specifically for kids as they're growing up, all of these sort of positive things that you'd want for kids is to have at least one meaningful, open, trusting relationship with an adult. And for some people, that's not their parents. Mm-hmm. Ideally, for all the parents out there, you want to be that person. But I think that if a kid's listening to this, they don't need 100 people. They don't need the whole community to change. They just need that one person to say, hey, you show up however you want to show up. I still love you. And if a Sunday school servant or a tunt or uncle or giddo or teta that's listening to this, and they hear what you're saying, they can be that person that says, hey, like, forget all these people. Like, you're the next St. Augustine. You're the next St. Moses the Strong. You're the next St. Paul. I'm rooting for you.
Yeah, I mean, so when you see the kid who comes into church with all the, with all the tattoos on his neck and the, the earring through his nose, don't walk away. That's sort of like that person's challenging you to come to him. That person wants you to come to him. I mean, I can understand if that person's walking into a church, he is begging for someone to come and talk to him. And we're running away because look at that guy,
We're scared. We're scared of what's inside that person. We're scared of what's inside us that could come out. We're scared of, okay, if my ex sees, not ex like spouse or like this person that I care about, what they think of me, sees me talking to this person, they're gonna think, oh, I think it's okay to get a tattoo on your neck. And it's like first of all, if that's what someone wants to do, it's fine. Like, okay. Like, I don't want to. Like, I barely have a neck to get a tattoo on.
It's hard to find employment in any type of either profession or non
athletic
or entertainment job.
Of course.
That will, and since most of us, 99.9% of us will never make it to being basketball players
or have the talent
or rappers, then
talented,
I'll probably be making $10 an hour if I have a tattoo on my neck.
So. Right. Right, which is fine if that's what you want. Get the tattoo and $10 an hour. That's fine. Welcome to church. I love you. No problem.
Right.
But like me talking to somebody with a tattoo on their neck doesn't like I don't get the connection. So thank you, Ralph. This is enlightening.
Thank you, Mina. This was fun. That's my bedtime. It's 4 o'clock in the morning.
I learned something as always, and I hope that my regular viewership of 4 people enjoyed this.
You're gonna have. I would say, huge, bigly, millions. This is gonna be watched all over the world.
You really need a red hat. We're going to get you a nice red hat for the return visit.
Make Mina great again. That's what it's going to be.
Make mustaches great again.
Make mustaches great again. Right. Mga.
So any closing thoughts for our thousands of listeners?
How many children do you have now?
3.
How old are they?
So Luca is now 8 years old almost. He'll be 8 in April. Sophia just turned 10, and Jacob is about to turn 12. So
very cool. God bless them.
I try to keep that always 2 years spaced apart. So I don't like it when they're 11, 10, and 7. That's shenanigans. So they go from 11, 9, and 7 to 12, 10, and 8.
Now I must ask you something. Are you wearing pants?
Pajama Castor.
And now you know why this will be the best episode ever. Now you know.
I was wearing like my khakis from work, and I was like, it's just Zoom. It's just, it's Ralph. Like he'll probably ask, but he'll ask after the recording. He'll have like some sense of decorum. No
censoring. You said, right?
No, listen. I did I dodge the question? Did I just tell you? No, like you asked the question. I showed you and I showed everyone the truth.
It's beautiful. Beautiful striped pajamas.
I'm wearing pajama castor and a bow tie.
Teta would be proud.
Actually, you know what? Like, if this ends up being a thing and we start doing more episodes and you end up coming back, I will make a commitment now. If you will make the same commitment, that the next one is going to be Bijamet Castor.
I'll one up you that, and I will wear a galabeya.
Okay, yeah, I have both. I have both upstairs. We can do your choice. We can do. My rule is pajama castor in the winter and galabeya in the summer. So depending on the time of year, I will be ready and willing.
That's a deal, Mina. That's a deal.
So, and any parting thoughts, my friend?
I hope by the time this airs, we know who the president is. So that's my part.
That there aren't riots and people hurting each other because they don't like how democracy went.
That will look. Are there going to be people who freak out on either side and do things? Yeah. Is there going to be a civil war? There's no civil war. Are we all? Because you know why? Because we're just normal human beings who want, we want to get our Gmail and we want to, get our Starbucks lattes, and we just want normal things out of life. We don't want we don't want revolution or, civil war. We're just not, if we were living in 1776, there would have been no Boston Tea Party. There would have been none of that stuff. We just want our lives to go on. We want to know what's the next thing to stream on Netflix. That's what we want. We're upset because all the good shows are done. Once the good shows come back, we're happy. So you want to keep Americans and like us satisfied, then give us a good show. And we're more than happy. Even not a good show, like that lion or tiger thing I never saw, but people loved it. It was important during the beginnings of COVID because it made us numb to what was happening. And, now we have another show. The election season is going to go for a couple of weeks. That series is going to end. and then we're gonna have something else. So we're Americans just want to watch stuff on TV. We're not revolutionary. We're done. We're done with revolution. That's so 18th century. We're happy now.
All right. Well, thank you again, sir.
I mean,
And
it was
till
fun.
next time. Hmm?
It was fun.
It was fun for me, my friend.
I want a transcription of this whole thing, please, so I can read it out.
Especially if I have to do the,
Yeah, have your secretary. I can tell you have a very fine office. Have your secretary print out the transcript, and then I'll send it to me for final edits.
Bye.